Okay, this is the third tutorial for Onshape, bringing an image in and creating a spline shape over the top, which we will send to the laser. In the previous tutorials, I showed you how to bring an image into Onshape and then how to import that image into the modeling environment. Now that I have my seahorse into my modeling environment, we're going to create a closed loop around the outside. So it's almost like we're tracing around the outside of the seahorse shape. Once we have a closed loop of spline lines, then we can send that as a DXF, which the laser can read and cut. To do so, up the top left, first we're going to select sketch 1. We're going to the 3 dots, we're going to select edit. And now up the top, we're going to click the pencil, which gives us our different options of what we want to do with that sketch. We're going to select spline, which is this one here. Up the top, you can see that spline is selected. Now, all we do now is we start at one point of the image and we slowly and carefully work our way around the outside of our seahorse shape. Now I'm going to start right at the top. I select the starting point and I release. Now everywhere I press again creates a separate line. This is up to you how much care and how much effort you want to put in. I myself like to get things right, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to take due care. And every time I release my finger, it creates a separate curve in the spline. So I'm going to slowly work my way around. It'll want to bounce up to the edge, just ignore that. Drop the point a little bit earlier if that's the case. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, just make do with what you can. And I'm going to slowly work my way by clicking and releasing, working my way around this seahorse shape. The more times you release and create a separate point, the better detail the shape will be. It'll let you create sharper angles and more detail in your curves. I'm going to work my way around. Now, if for some reason you need to stop your current spline, say if you need to resize the image or scroll the image down so you can see the bottom, you just simply finish where you need to finish, tick it off. You can see that the points are still there around the outside. I can reshape my page, zoom it in, change where I want to be. Let's make it fit the whole page so I don't have to do this again. And then simply I go back into edit, edit sketch 1, select spline tool up the top again, and then I just start from where I finished. So I highlight the last point I made. That's now selected, and I can continue to place more spline tools in around the outside of the seahorse. So you continue this process all the way around until you're happy with the final shape. Remember, the more care and the more time and the more nodes you put in, the better your finished product will be. So you continue this all the way around the seahorse until you have a closed loop. Once you have a closed loop, so just for the sake of speed, I'm going to close this one off. Let's just pretend that I did the whole seahorse. I've come all the way back around, create a few more, and I'm going to join and close that loop. See, I'm joining it back up to the top, my very first node. I'm going to close that loop. If you do happen to make a mistake, like I just accidentally clicked that, I'm going to bring it back up to that closed point. Tick it off. Now I have my closed shape. So to see if it's closed shape, I can highlight over, and it's just only going to highlight that loop. Yours will be the whole seahorse. Once you've highlighted that loop, so I'm highlighting the section that I just created a spline tool around, you go to the 3 dots. I've got my section highlighted and I want to export as a DXF. So halfway down the list, export as DXF. You can name it into seahorse. Actually, name it your name. Whenever you're sending a file to the teacher or to the laser, name it your name. So mine will be Ravel version 1. I'm saving as a DXF. I'm not changing anything. The only thing I am selecting is I need to tick that export splines as polylines. That must be ticked. Everything else stays the same apart from the label. Label it your name. And then if you scroll down, you click export. Now it's going to ask you where you're exporting it. I'm going to save it into my IDT, my Pimpamar folder in my Google Drive, and once I've got the folder I want it in, which is Pimpamar, I click add. You will be adding it into your IDT folder. And once it's in the folder, you just open up Google Drive. So you find where yours has saved. Mine will be in my Google Drive folder at the top here. Once it's saved into your folder, you find it within your folder and you send it or share it with me. So you can see it's V1 DXF. I'm going to click those lines and I'm going to send a copy or share it. I don't mind which one you do. Might be easier to share. And you're sharing it with sravel@kingscollege.queensland.edu.au, and you'll hit the little send button. And that's all you need to do.